Welcome back to Tam. Today we're making these guys, my Savta's date cookies, Savta Hebrew for grandmother, and these were her speciality. There's a really well-known Sephardi cookie called a mamul, which is they're still hot. It's a filled cookie with a date filling. My Savta and many cooks like her looked for a shortcut. So rather than individually filling each biscuit, they created rolls. They spread the date filling and then they rolled it up. And when it comes out of the oven, you slice it then. So have a look. These are my Savta's date cookies. They're a riff on the mamul, where from maleh, the Hebrew word for full, you would fill them with dates. Instead, we spread them, roll it, then slice it. Same incredible, delicious flavor, half the work. Though these do involve a little work, we're gonna make the dough. We're then going to make the filling. We're gonna fill these rolls, roll them up, individually kind of segment them, but not slice through, bake, and then when they come out of the oven, we're gonna slice them and they're gonna be ready to go. So stick around, let's make my Savta's date cookies right now. All right, let's start with making the dough for my Savta's delicious, amazing date cookies, which I'm gonna make ahead of time and freeze. Very exciting. So what I have here is 125 grams of castor sugar, which is super fine sugar. Adding 225 grams of room temperature butter, which is 1 cup. So in it goes, and I'm going to mix until the butter is light and fluffy and well combined with the sugar. We want like all the butter to be coated in sugar and all of it to kind of light and fluffy, because we want this dough to like melt in your mouth. That's the texture we're going for. So our butter and sugar are well combined. I'm gonna add 1 egg to this butter sugar situation and mix until the egg is well combined with the butter and sugar, well absorbed, which shouldn't take very long, but do wait until it happens. You'll see at first it's a bit piecey, but as the egg is absorbed, it all comes together into a nice smooth mass. But do scrape down the sides if needed. So I'm looking at mine, it's nearly there. It's coming together. Don't worry if it looks a little bit like it's curdling, it will all come together. All right, there we go. Oh my goodness. Now what I have is the juice of half a lemon. My Savta didn't really use vanilla. She used lemons to flavor all her things. Sweet and savory alike. There was a lot of lemon in my Savta's cooking. So I'm going to mix that in as well. And as soon as it's absorbed, I'm going to add our last 2 ingredients, which is 3 cups of plain / all-purpose flour and a pinch of salt. I need to reach very close to the camera there. Okay, but I got my salt. And we're going to mix it just until it all comes together. And then I'm gonna knead it a few times on my baking mat on a clean counter, just to bring it together. Here is our dough, beautiful, amazing, ready. It's been kneaded together. It's this gorgeous amount of dough. I'm gonna wrap it up and stick it in the fridge for the minimum of an hour or up to 3 days. If you're not making it in the next 3 days, then freeze it for up to a month and then defrost it and use it that way. But at least an hour in the fridge to firm up. Welcome back. So we made our dough for our date cookies yesterday. You could say another gorgeous day in London. Gray, it's a gray color. But no matter, we are continuing with my Savta's date cookies and all is good with the world. So what I have here is the dough we made yesterday that's been in the fridge overnight, and I took it out just to come to room temperature. It would have been way too hard to roll out fridge cold. And what I have here is 400 grams of dates soaking in 400 grams of hot water. I'm gonna drain them in the sink. So here we go, they're draining. And then I'm gonna squeeze out as much water as possible from the drained dates before we get ahead and make our filling. So here we go, dates drained, as you can see, and I've used a spoon to squeeze out as much water as possible. In our new kitchen, I just did an Instagram live about it. I'm still shaking a bit. I actually have a pantry that's not really working for me. So I keep on buying more of one ingredient and none of the other. So I had not enough whole dates. I had lots of chopped dates and I kind of mixed them up together. And the reason I tell you this is because I use a scale a lot in my cooking. And here is the reason why. Because not only did I not have chopped walnuts, I had whole walnuts, but the weight of a whole walnut is the same as the weight of a chopped walnut. So when I ask for 100 grams of chopped walnuts and I don't have them, nor do I want to chop them, 100 grams of whole walnuts is the same thing. So I encourage you all, even if you live in a country where you don't actually weigh your ingredients, you measure them, consider weighing them. Your baking will go up a notch. It'll be so much more precise. You'll be so happy with it. So my little plug-in for using a scale when you bake. So now we're just gonna add all our ingredients, which is our 400 grams of drained dates, along with our 100 grams of not chopped walnuts, the zest of half an orange, another one of my favorite kitchen tools, a microplane grater. So this is the way you use a microplane. So the stuff ends up at the top of the microplane grater and doesn't fall off. And then when you're done grating, you actually turn it out onto wherever you need it. So that's about half an orange. I love oranges, so I'm gonna probably eat this one as soon as I'm done. And in we go, along with 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, which is my very favorite spice in the whole wide world. And we are going to zhuzh, and it's up to you. If you want a very fine filling, then zhuzh away. If you want it to be a little more grainy, just go halfway. That's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna start, and then we're gonna come right back as soon as our filling is done. So we've rolled out the dough. You could see it's about 9 by 13 inches, 20 by 30 centimeters. And here's the filling. I'm gonna actually dump almost all of it into the center because I've already done one roll. So this is already my second, so I don't have to worry about saving some back. And then I'm gonna use another awesome kitchen tool, an offset spatula, to spread my filling all over my dough. And then we're gonna roll this guy up. So our dough is rolled, our filling is spread all over, and this is why I like rolling out the dough on a baking mat or a piece of paper, is because I'm gonna use the baking mat in order to help me get started with the roll. The dough itself is incredibly fragile because we want it to be this melt in the mouth dough, but that means that the dough itself is going to be very liable to break. So if you get patches in the dough, if it tears a little bit, do not worry about it. That's absolutely fine and expected from a dough that's this fragile. So I've used my baking mat to roll up the dough. I'm actually going to attempt, hopefully successfully, but not always, to roll the dough straight onto the cookie sheet to meet the other dough that's already there. So let's give it a go and see how we go. And there we go. Yes, we've got 2 rolls of dough ready on the cookie sheet. So one last thing to do before we're ready to go into the oven, I'm gonna use a knife just to indent into the dough and make marks where eventually, once they come out of the oven, I will cut and make cookies out of these. So it's more of a signifier. It's also gonna help the dough to not burst open, which these guys are liable to do. So let me just give you a little bit of a closer look. I've marked them all. I'm gonna mark the second one, and they're gonna go into the oven at 160 degrees Celsius, which is 320 Fahrenheit, for about 30 minutes. These are quite thick and dense, and we want them to cook in the center. That's why we're lowering the oven temperature and extending the cooking time, and that should help them cook through into the center. These are not cookies that you want raw in the center. You want them cooked through. So 160 Celsius, 320 Fahrenheit for about half an hour until they are cooked through into the center. Our cookies are out of the oven. They smell incredible. Oh my goodness. So do you remember we marked off where we were gonna cut them when they came out, and you're gonna cut them while they're still hot out of the oven, and use your demarcations. Hot, hot, hot. But there we are. Oh my goodness. So incredible. So I'm gonna keep on using those lines I made to help me cut. I may wipe off the knife in between each cut just to get a cleaner cut each time. So if you want, wipe it down and cut, wipe it down, and keep on cutting until they're all cut through. Oh my God, I'm like speechless. I am so excited about these. I'm gonna keep on cutting. There they are. Look at them. They're all cut. They're beautiful. They smell incredible. Check that out, my Savta's Day cookies. Not only are they incredibly nostalgic for me, but they're absolutely delicious for everyone else. So I hope you try these out. They are so good. I've made these with butter, but you can make them pareve, as in dairy-free, if that works for you. But they are ridiculously delicious any way you make them. Have a go. I hope wherever you are, whomever you're with, you're having an amazing day and a beautiful Shabbat to come. See y'all soon.